How did you get your nickname, man? The Funky Bones, dude.
Funky Bones. So
Yeah.
when I first started fighting, it was T-Bone, which just because it just made sense with the name, you know.
Yeah.
But always my wrestling style, my grappling style is definitely funky, right? So I don't really do things by the book ever, and that's with my striking too. Everything is kind of my own way, and it's just a funky way of doing things.
Yeah.
And I think I attribute a lot of my success grappling like that, and I tell people all the time, you know, when people come and ask, hey, how did you make that jump to being a guy who was maybe 50-50 in competition to now a guy who's, I mean, in 2019 I went like 45-1 or something like that. So it's like
Wow.
you just really gotta, my thing is always to really lay into what works for you, right? And what works
Yeah.
for me is being kind of funky and different. And
Yeah.
if you find that thing and you make people play that game, you're going to be better at playing your game than they are playing your game. So
Tyler, an MMA fighter, you're a grappling competitor, you're a wrestling MMA coach there at Ferro Academy. Thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate it.
yeah, man, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
I'd love to go back with my guest there. Where did you grow up? What was childhood like for you?
So I grew up in Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
You know, childhood, a lot of it was based around competing, whether it be, you know, I really can't remember a time where I wasn't playing a sport and sport wasn't the focus of my life. So whether it be baseball or basketball, and then eventually later wrestling and now MMA. So it's been a lot of competing and sports based for me for sure.
Yeah. And so how did you end up in the MMA side of things? Like, was there someone that introduced you to the sport?
Yeah. So my brother, I was wrestling in high school. I was planning on wrestling in high school. My brother had introduced me to the Ultimate Fighter, the first season of the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, coming out of maybe 8th grade, and when that was happening, maybe even earlier. And we had watched that first Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner fight on Spike TV, and I knew from that second on that that's what I wanted to do with my life for sure. So yeah, I joined wrestling in high school to make sure that I can have a good base for MMA, and now we're here.
Come on. And what was the
Yeah.
reaction from your friends and your family when you're like, yeah, I want to go step in that cage and do that fight thing?
It's funny. Yeah. So a lot of my friends like knew already that was going to be what I was doing because I was just obsessed with it. Right. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I think it was like 7th, 8th grade. My friends were like, all right, well, it was only a matter of time until he got in there and started chasing it
Yeah.
seriously. My mom definitely had a different reaction. she, you know, she felt the same way about wrestling. You know, at first she was kind of if about it, but she's the loudest person in the gym when we were wrestling, screaming and cheering. So she still likes it now. She's a little bit worried about me getting hurt, but what
Yeah.
mother isn't, right?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, you're as an amateur fighter, if Tapology is correct, hopefully.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, COVID pretty much put a stop to all MMA events this year, but when can us fans expect to see you back in the cage?
So I got a few things coming up. Luckily, I've been able to stay pretty active during COVID here.
Nice.
I've gone out to Florida 4 times, I believe, maybe 3 times.
Nice.
And did 3 combat jiu-jitsu matches. Went 2-1. I won for a belt one time, and it just didn't work out. Lost in overtime, but good experience nonetheless.
Yeah.
So I have some on February 5th and 6th. I'll actually be competing in Vegas for the High Rollers event.
Nice.
Which is such a big opportunity. I mean, I think in my bracket alone, there's guys from Bellator like Joe Schilling and a few other guys that I'll be competing up against. So some big names, big opportunity.
Wow.
And then hopefully at the end of February, I'll be fighting in Kentucky at HRMMA.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're still looking for a matchup now, but that's the plan so far.
Okay. And I assume that the goal is to ultimately go. Do you have a goal date in mind of when you want to go there?
Yeah, so I'm 26 right now.
Okay.
Like I've been grappling for close to 10 years, so I feel pretty good with the grappling. I still do want to get you know, work on my stripes in the striking realm, right? I want to get some more time in there dealing with kind of high pressure, high velocity stuff. So I'm thinking of maybe 2 years if all goes well. If, you know, obviously that gets extended. My original plan was 2 years last year, but with COVID and everything, you know, you just can't get the competition time like you would like to. So I'd like to get going here at pro before I'm 28 if possible.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, one of the things I noticed on your Instagram page is you're an ambassador for Tap Out Cancer. Great organization. They've donated $2 million or over that to beneficiaries since they started there. You made a post that you had, or you're fighting for your grandmother who passed away in January 2018. Two things. What's your experience working with Tap Out Cancer, and what was the impact that your grandmother made on you, man?
Yeah, so Tap Cancer Out is it's a phenomenal place. You know, a lot of the time, even on the front, right? Like we see a lot of people who aren't so associated with the community see jiu-jitsu and combat sports as kind of this, you know, dangerous thing, or, you know, whatever it is. But jiu-jitsu is such a beautiful sport, and for them to be able to kind of capture the lightheartedness of jiu-jitsu and what the impact jiu-jitsu can make in the community it can make it's really an awesome thing. And I'm so blessed to be a part of it. Like you said, they've raised over $2 million. They just did I forgot what they called it exactly. What a great ambassador I am. They rolled for like an hour straight or something like that. It was like global grappling day, they called it. And they raised a ton of money doing that too. So, you know, and they have awesome gear as well. So their whole business plan is that they, you know, they run out tournaments, right? So they either do, I think it's all gi when they do tournaments, and they also do submission showcases that you can apply for and have super fights for. And that's how I actually got in with them. And you raise money. So you post on your Facebook links, your social media links, say, hi, I'm competing and I'm raising money for cancer, right? And you raise the money for cancer. And at some point you reach different milestones as you're raising money. So, you know, $100, your tournament sign up is free. You get a backpack, you get a gi as you work your way up, you know? So yeah, great company, great things. Check them out, tapcancerout.com. I have a promo code too, so we'll throw that in there, but they have some awesome gear as well that you can just buy on their store.
Sweet.
And then my grandma, grandma. So she made a huge impact on my life, right? She's an immigrant from Italy. And, you know, she fought her ass off. She lived to be in her late 80s. You know, she had dementia, and it was just tough for me to see someone, you know, like a human life kind of go downhill like that. And it kind of just forced me to say, when I'm that age, I want to make sure that I don't have regrets, right? I want to make sure that I'm gonna go forward with the things that I truly want to do, and I don't want to look back saying, man, I wish I could have. So that's probably the biggest lesson for sure.
Always a fun question. How did you get your nickname, man? The Funky Bones, dude.
Funky Bones. So when I first started fighting, it was T-Bone, which just because it just made sense with the name, you know. But always my wrestling style, my grappling style is definitely funky, right? So I don't really do things by the book ever. And that's with my striking too. Everything is kind of my own way, and it's just a funky way of doing things. And I think I attribute a lot of my success grappling like that. And I tell people all the time, you know, when people come and ask, hey, how did you make that jump to being a guy who was maybe 50-50 in competition to now a guy who's, I mean, in 2019, I went like 45-1 or something like that. So it's like, you just really gotta, my thing is always to really lay into what works for you, right? And what works for me is being kind of funky and different. And if you find that thing and you make people play that game, you're going to be better at playing your game than they are playing your game. So yeah, that's kind of where it comes from.
Awesome, man. I wanted to shift to some fun questions here real quick. So I've got these things, they're called decks. Essentially, there's random questions. I'm going to pull one out here, and hopefully it's not a flop here, but we'll see how it goes. Let's see. This one says, what's your reoccurring nightmare?
What's my reoccurring nightmare? Oh man, I have this weird nightmare where whether it be in a fight, like an MMA fight, or just like an altercation in real life scenarios, where I'll go to punch someone and it feels like there's like some type of motion just holding my fist back. So I get there and it stops every time and I can't do anything about it. It's the worst. It's the worst. I also have one where like I keep getting a call, like I'll just be living my life as I normally do today, and I'll get a call from like my counselor in college saying that I have to go back to school and get and complete more credits to get my degree. I always get that. It's so strange.
That's awesome. I'm a music guy, so I love to ask this question. What's your favorite type of music, or do you have a favorite band that you like to listen to?
So that's another reason why the funky nickname happens is I listen to a lot of like soul music and like and funky era music. So that and 90s hip hop is probably where I'd base my musical taste. But classic rock's always got a place in my heart too.
Right. Absolutely. When you're not training, when you're not fighting, man, what are you doing for fun?
Man, that's a good question, because we're at the gym like 7 times a week. Yeah, so I train every day, so it's hard to kind of find some peace, but I do like, I'm kind of a nerdy guy. I like Marvel stuff. I play a lot of video games as well.
Cool.
So kind of just trying to relax and get that much needed R&R sometimes when you're training so hard.
Yep. Last question for you. If you could jump into a pool of anything, what would it be?
A pool of anything?
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, that's such a good question. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to say a pool of money, so I could come out with some. That's what I would do. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Yeah.
Absolutely, dude. Well, I also wanted to give you an opportunity, Tyler, to give a shout out to coaches, teammates, sponsors, man, anything like that, man. The camera's all yours.
Yeah, thanks, man. First of all, shout out to you guys, Top Rated MMA, for having me. It's an awesome show, and glad to be on here. Shout out to Intercept MMA, Ferro Academy, Jiu-Jitsu. If you guys are ever in the Illinois, Chicago area and you want to come out and get some training, hit me up. We're always looking for, people to come and get new looks and different kinds of things. So if you ever need that, please don't hesitate to reach out. Shout out to Tab Cats Are Out. We talked about them. MMA Tico, they do a great job of supporting amateur and local fighters. And you should reach out to them. The guy who runs it is a great guy. It'd be kind of a cool way to promote both of you guys.
Nice.
But
okay.
Yeah, they make t-shirts for amateur fighters, and they kind of host stores year round for different shirts. I don't know if I have any of mine here, but yeah, check them out. MMA Tico, and
Nice.
you can go to my name on their page, and there's about 30 other fighters on their page. They have awesome shirts. They make them on demand. Great
Sweet.
stuff. Great way to support us.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm actually wearing another one of my sponsors, Trials and Tribulations. Awesome place to shop as well. They have great stuff. Yeah, and everyone else, family and friends, thank you for supporting me. I know this is a crazy times, crazy life I'm trying to live, but I love it.
Man, Tyler, such an honor to have you on my show, man. I'm excited to see you back in the cage and back to grappling again there in February, man. Best of luck to you, but truly, truly an honor, man, to have you on my show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for watching the show today. I so appreciate it. Please leave a comment down below. Leave us a review. Share this video. We want to get it in front of as many people as we can. I'm going to continue to bring on the best guests possible and the best up-and-coming fighters, real stories. Thank you so much for checking it out. Have an awesome day.